Hello, you guys. We're back. We are back. We're continuing our Healing Diaries series. I'm back. It's the same day. I just recorded the previous episode, so you guys make sure you guys check it out. Before we get into it though, like, comment, subscribe, turn the post notification bell if you feel called to do either or any of those things. Then do it. So let's get right into it. So this episode we're talking about releasing control. What do I mean by releasing control? Now I feel like this is probably gonna be something that only like is resonating with people who it resonates with, because not everyone has this need or feels like they have to be in control of everything. I am or was someone. I'm saying am and was because, you know, your girl is evolving currently as we speak, but there's still parts of her that are still some of the things that she's evolving from. So we're gonna say both, because, you know, the past and the present and the future is all happening at the same time. Anywho, I say for releasing control is releasing control of the situation, and honestly acknowledging that you didn't really have control of any situation, of things that you're like obviously healing from or whatever it is, because everything happens how it's supposed to happen and how it's going to happen. And for me, I live in my head 99% of the time. So I have these ideas in my head of how life is supposed to be or going to be, and because I've like realized that I'm like healing from things that were not in that, it wasn't in that sketch that I like drew up in my head. So it's just like, wow, you really have no control of how life is going to transpire. And because of that, it's like, it's almost like that what if. People be like, well, what if this would have happened, or if I would have did this. Those questions that you have after something has happened that wasn't obviously how you planned it out to be or how you would have expected it to be. That's what I mean when I say release control. Because when you release control and you just go with the flow of life, and you go with the flow of allowing things and accepting things as they are, as how people are, whatever, as it will be, it releases a huge weight up off of you. Another thing when I say release control is to, like, when it comes to conversations and things, I have scripts that I draw up in my head. Like, I'm not I like preparation. Let me put it this way. I like to be prepared for things. So I kind of like to know what's going to happen next. But when it comes to life and when it comes to healing, you can't control anything, and how you don't know how anything's going to transpire. You don't know how anything is going to be or what it's going to look like. None of that. So thinking that you can't just have that type of control over your own life, and especially when it's involving other people, you can't control other people. You can only control your own self, your own actions, and how you respond to things, how you choose to respond to things. And this kind of builds off of the previous episode of talking about accountability, because with that, releasing control is realizing that you have the choice of two options. There's always options, sometimes more than two, of choosing how you're going to move forward with things and how you're going to allow them to affect you in any way, whether that's a negative way, positive way, whatever you deem positive, negative, whatever. But how is it going to affect you? Or how can you take something that has affected you in a negative way and flip it to make it something positive for you in your life? And, you know, I feel like you have to realize that, again, like, you only have control over your own actions, and you only have control over your response to things. So, like, let's say you're being triggered by something, right? Let's say you're currently through this healing, you're being more intentional with your healing, so you're more aware of yourself, you're more aware of others, you're more aware of the spaces and places that you choose to be in. But you never know when you're going to be triggered by something, because you never know what's going to be the trigger. You never know what that is, because you don't have control over any of these things. And I feel like for me, because I'm on my healing journey, I'm realizing that I can be triggered by literally anything. The very beginning of this, I was like, oh yeah, you know, okay, I'm over it. I've acknowledged what this is. I've acknowledged how it's affected me. What part of it am I healing from? What do I still need to heal from? What can I do differently? What happened? And what role did I play? Right? I'm good. I'm over it now. That's cool. Like, you know, I got it. It could be doing anything random, watching a movie, listening to a song, in mid-conversation, anything. Instantly get triggered. And now you're back thinking about the very thing that you swore up and down that you were over and that you healed from. I'm just like, wait, what? And it had gave me a reality check of realizing you can't control your healing process. You can't control how you're going to heal. And you can't control that things are not going to trigger you. And you don't have any control over really your emotions, but you have control over how your emotions allow you to act, right? Because we really act off of emotions most of the time. So releasing that control of allowing yourself to feel your emotions instead of just subsiding it and just trying to acknowledge. Because I'm an intellectual person, and I like to intellectualize things. I like to really understand in a very deep level on multiple different perspectives. And I found myself getting so wrapped up into the analytical process that I did the feeling process of it all. And I released the control of feeling like I have to, what my healing had to look like. Because a lot of it wasn't looking like in the very beginning of me, okay, this is what happened, this is what this person did, this is what I did, this is what the role, this is how it's affecting me, whatever. Great, this is how it made me feel. Cool, we figured out what it was, who it was, when it was, where it was, because I don't forget the who, what, when, where, and I always be wanting to know the why. But even with all that, it's just like, yeah, you're not feeling anything, ma'am. You're not. You're trying to still control this situation. You're still kind of control everything. Just don't feel like you have to have control over everything, because you don't have control over anything. You have control of your actions and how you allow things, that how your feelings can manifest and allow you to react, right? Your reactions. But that's where accountability comes in at. That's where you have to really do that self-reflection of, how is this serving me? Is this serving me? How am I going to allow it to affect me moving forward? I think another thing when it comes to release control is important to understand that everything is happening for you. The good, the bad, the ups, the downs, the trials, the tribulations, all of it is happening for you, not to you. Everything is either a blessing or a lesson, but the blessing of it all is knowing that there's a blessing in every lesson learned. Period. There's a blessing in every lesson learned. So whether you look at it as a lesson or a blessing, it's still a blessing regardless, because there's a lesson out of it. Like, you learn something from it. It's allowing you to grow and evolve and move different and do that self-reflection on yourself. So, releasing control, releasing the need and of what things are going to look like. Because things never often look like how we want them to, honestly. It's very rare that it does, honestly. It's very rare, especially when it's involving other people. And even when it comes to yourself, because, I feel like we're always changing and evolving. So we don't really know ourselves as full, as much as we think we do, because at least for myself, I know that I'm the one person that know myself better than anyone else, because this is me. I'm living my own life. I actually sit with myself and take the time to learn myself, and I also take the time to unlearn myself. So because we're always learning and unlearning, we're always changing and growing and evolving. So feeling like you have control of that, like, change is constant. You're never gonna not change. You can't control how the things that you experience or the changes that has happening or taking place within you are going to affect you, and how it's going to allow you to move differently or move at all. You know what I'm saying? So release control, release the need of feeling like you can control everything and everyone, or yourself being in certain situations or encounters or experiences or meeting different types of people. Release that I feel like it's very big-headed and very egotistical as well, to have that mentality of, I can control this and I can control my emotions. I feel like we can't control our emotions, we can only manage them. Like, you can control your actions. So I feel like we have full control, unless you're incapable in some way, like legal way, then yeah, of your actions and how you moving forward. But it's important to take a step back and take a pause. Kind of like going to a stop sign, right? Or when the light turns, let's say you're at a stoplight and the light turns green. And instead of going as soon as it turned green, you wait 3 to 4 seconds just to see, because you never know what the next person is doing or what can transpire. I feel like that's how we should be when it comes to our actions. Is we all have our initial instinct and our initial action of how our reactions in some cases, depending on what it is, will be. But the growth is really being instilled upon you when you can sit and stop and wait like 5 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever, and say, okay, let me think about what I'm really wanting to do and what else can I do? What other options do I have? How can that affect? Because that's how my brain goes. My brain goes, there's also a multitude of options and things you can do. Option 1 can get you here. Option B can get you there. Option C is a possibility of all these things. But which one is most in alignment with you and your self-growth, your self-development, you're applying your self-worth, you're applying your self-love, those boundaries within yourself, within others, which one is going to really be best, have your best interests at heart, you know what I'm saying? And result in you not having to find something else to heal from, or you then later feeling regretful for how you did react, or whatever the case may be. I feel like I'm talking a little bit all over the place with this one, but I feel like it's just really important to know that we don't have any control over anything, and at any given moment anything can just it can just change. It can be a major shift. It can be a difference. Like anything can happen at any moment. And when I feel like when it comes to healing, I feel like especially now, because healing is such this I don't want to say mainstream, but it's a lot of people right now are really on a healing journey, and they're actually calling it a healing journey. That especially with social media, you get so wrapped up of like what that looks like. Oh, healing is this, and it means no. Healing doesn't have an aesthetic. Like there's no aesthetic to it. Like you're just healing, and there is no way to say that because how you heal versus how someone else's heal means that you're not healing, or you're not on a healing journey, or that they're not on a healing journey because they heal differently than you. Like release that control, or that need of feeling like what something has to look like and what it has to be. Like allow things to be as they are. Allow yourself to be as you are, and allow yourself to have that space and that freedom to just be. Literally just be in your feelings, be in your thoughts if you need to, be in those moments and be present in those moments, but just be mindful of how you move moving forward, how you react, or how you choose to act. It is important to release control. Release control, you guys. Release it. Let it go. Release the control of. And another thing also with that is, I feel like I used to be like, oh, I used to plan, like when I meet people, I get very invested, like truly invested, that I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna be friends forever. Like we locked in. There ain't no switching up until people switch up. But I used to control this idea of just people being in my life all the time. And I had to realize, like, no, you can't plan. No, like that's not how life works. People and things and experiences and places are temporary, and it's okay with things being temporary. And sometimes you get realigned with those people, places, things, experiences, whatever it is. So releasing the control of what things are going to look like moving forward. Because I feel like when you're healing and you're intentional about it, you're like, okay, yeah, now I know what not to do. So this is what it's going to be like, because I know I'm not going to do this. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be what you think it is because of what you're not going to do. It's still going to be whatever it is that it's going to be. And you can still very much find yourself in the same type of encounters, or, you know, relationships with people that are gonna have to teach you those same type of lessons, like, or that can teach you the same lesson if you didn't learn it the first time, but if you're not actually applying it. I feel like the other thing I'm learning is that God is going to test you. You're going to be tested in a sense of, okay, you're healing from this, you've done the work, you know, you've done your analyzing, you've learned, you realize what role you play, you're now exercising your self-worth and your value. So let me put you in a scenario where you actually apply those things, where you're actually now implementing those boundaries. Did you implement those boundaries, right? Did you release the control of the outcome of the situation with that person or whatever, or that encounter, or whatever the case may be? And you have to release control. I feel like with releasing control, it allows so much space and room for greatness to happen. And the release control, the idea of how things are going to be in your life moving forward. Because even I once had like a plan of all these different things, and none of it has happened. And now I'm just like, yeah, I have to release the control of what this is going to look like, what my healing is going to look like, what my life is going to look like. Allow so much room for my healing journey to be just that. A large portion of my healing is me crying randomly because I'm triggered by literally anything. And even it took me some time for me to realize, like, girl, you can't control your emotions. You know, before I could control crying and not cry like at any given moment. Now, because I release that control, baby, I cry whenever them tears come. Whenever I feel the urge to, I let them out. I feel those emotions and whatever it is that because I'll be crying and don't even know what I'm crying about, but I know that I needed to cry and that's why I'm crying. And I release the control of trying to make myself feel okay when I don't feel okay. Release the control of feeling like you have to feel a certain way because of so much that you've grown. Like, I feel like another thing is, when it comes to control and releasing that, is reminiscing. Thinking back, 'cause I feel like a lot of things, like, some, you know, sometimes we're healing from things and people and experiences that we really care about and still care about. So you're trying to control your feelings and control the fact that you still care. Why do I still care about this person? Because you care about that person. Or why do you miss that person? Because you miss that person, and that's okay that you miss that person. You know, allow yourself to feel that in that moment. Release control, y'all. Release control. Release it. It's a beautiful feeling when you do, because it just allows you to know that, you know, life happens and things change, people change, but even you change. It's just having to reflect on the fact, is a change for the better? You know, is it in alignment with my worth, my value, what I'm deserving of, and all those beautiful things. Release control, and it will allow you so much more space and room to also heal at a deeper level than you thought that you could or felt that you had to heal at. You know, I feel like when I started healing, I'm like, oh, this is what it's gonna look like, this is what it's gonna be, and it didn't look like, or it wasn't anything that I thought it was. It was actually the complete opposite. I thought it was gonna be all, you know, roses and rainbows, and all right, this was the problem, this is what happened, bet, okay, cool, this is the role I played, cool, great, this is what they did, all right, cool, they're not apologizing, that's great, okay, now I have to accept that. But no, it's completely different than that. It's me, you know, healing from it, acknowledging it, accepting that it happened, and then realizing, you know, this is life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, y'all. This one was kind of all over the place a little bit. I didn't really have too much structure. I was really just talking off the dome, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. I was really a lot of these are me just talking like off the dome. I have like a few little like bullet points, and I let God, Gabrielle, do what she gonna do, and that's just speak from the heart, y'all. From the heart. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I shall see y'all in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.